All right, and welcome back. Here we have a Judas swing in the market. As always, I'm a developing student. These are just my interpretations on price. Shout out ICT. So let's get straight into it. Overall, as we can see, we've now put in a swing low into the market. We've had change of state delivery on the daily, so we can now anticipate that we might want to see higher prices. We might want to see higher prices. If we look at yesterday, where else did we close above? We closed above these two down close candles. So now, not only do we have an order block, but we have a possible propulsion block confirmed with that change of state delivery with that closure of that candle here. So now underlying order flow has now shifted bullish. But overall, we have seen a bearish order flow here. This can just be a retracement on the weekly chart. So as you see, we have the order block level that gets respected perfectly. Look at that, very nicely. And if we can actually grade this level, we fall short of mean threshold. So that is a bullish signature. We don't touch it to the tick, but it's nice to see. We pretty much respect that perfectly, and we end up rebounding, and then we end up seeking buy side throughout the rest of the day. And we're just going to go over this fractal price, and this is the 1 hour chart. As you see, we've had fair value gap in, fair value gap out, big displacement coming back down, retracing higher. And if we look at this implied dealing range from this high to this low, we are at equilibrium. We end up displacing higher, respecting that. Once we displace through equilibrium, it's likely that we are going to reach implied terminus. So here we have 75%, and that's your expected anticipated silver bullet level. That's your silver bullet of that model. And then as we see here, we'll dive into this deeper, but we have that breaker right here, high, low, higher, high. And as you see, where's that breaker forming? Right at 75% of this dealing range, and we end up respecting it perfectly, and then ending up at buy side there. So as we see, this is hourly chart, just a little more zoomed in. You can see here, we also have a tiny fair value gap there, but I'm more paying attention to this breaker right there, and just beautiful delivery there. And we end up coming back down all the way back into this order block right there in the hourly to then seeking more buy side. So as we see, we have a potential candidate for a low of New York, and I'm honestly not sure, but we have a fair value gap right there, 15-minute PD array, and we end up forming a swing low right here. Change of state delivery on the 15-minute. Boom, that gets respected nicely, and we end up seeking buy side there. So as you see, we also form an SMT at that time. Yes, or Nasdaq came down, take these lows. ES did not. Who's strong? Was stronger? ES is within a 15-minute fair value gap at that time too. So as you see here, here's the 15-minute chart. We have an hourly order block or hourly fair value gap. I didn't mark it, but we have an hourly fair value gap that we end up respecting. We end up forming SMT, displacing our lows, change state delivery, and then we end up seeking buy side like we discussed. And as we see, market opens. Market opens at 9:30. And every time I look at the market open, I like to look where is the low resistance liquidity, where have we generated low resistance liquidity, because that's likely where we're going to draw to. That is likely where we're going to draw to, the low resistance liquidity. As you can see here, what do we end up doing? We end up opening right here. We end up actually displacing lower, then end up displacing higher, then lower, then higher, and then back lower. So I would call this a seek and destroy Judas. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm just gonna call it, and that's how I'm gonna interpret it. But basically, we had a seek and destroy Judas. As we see, we have sell side, buy side, and then we seek sell side. Like as you see, this delivery is just not very nice. Sell side, buy side, up to this hourly imbalance, and then we form SMT with ES, and then we end up displacing lower. So we end up taking minor sell side. We have more liquidity that rests here. We react out that we take minor sell side, then we come all the way back up. We fall short of an order block too, of a 15-minute order block. Then we come back down. Then we come back up, and then like around this point, people are just in whipsaw, which is why I elect to kind of just try to trade the 950 macro, because like you're going to miss out on days like this, which is what you want to avoid. You want to avoid days like this to where market open isn't clear, and we end up coming in a 950 macro, and then we have a more clear understanding on what price is going to do. So as we see here, we have that seek and destroy right there, SMT right there, and then we end up having a fair value gap here that we end up breaking through, and then we end up reaccumulating within 25%. And we have this wick right here, 50% of that, project that lower, and we end up forming a breakaway gap right here after this consolidation. And notice here, the Judas swing is seek and destroy. And we come back up, we're manipulated into this gap here with that SMT. So that's kind of your Judas swing. So I want to back this a little bit more on the types of Judas swings, but yeah, seek and destroy type of Judas swing right there. And we end up displacing lower, and then we end up hitting that higher time frame PD array, the hourly order block or the hourly fair value or that 15-minute fair value gap, with SMT here. Then we have change state delivery on the 5-minute there with that candle here. We end up repricing higher. Fair value gap right there. Probably an order block that we more tap into. We have this mitigation right there. Boom, seek buy side. We have fair value gap right there. Then we end up seeking these highs here. As we can see, this is a 1-minute chart, and on the 1-minute chart, we end up changing state delivery right here. We don't change it here. We fail to close above that. We change it right here, right there on that candle, and boom, these candles now get supported. We have a fair value gap in, fair value gap out. This now becomes a balanced price range down here. Price doesn't really end up ever coming back to any of these nice meaty order blocks. This is what I like to see in an order block. No wick, but big body. But we never come back down. We come back into this fair value gap, into this order block, and we end up displacing fair value gap, order blocks, down close candles, supporting price. We're clearly in a buy model, and then we end up seeking buy side. And here is ES, showing ES's delivery. Look at ES perfectly. Look at that order block right there. We end up forming a swing low with an SMT at a higher time PD rate. Then we have an order block right there. What are the odds of us coming all the way back down to sell side? Pretty unlikely. What are the odds of us going to buy side? More likely versus less likely. We have these signatures that we love to see, and that gets respected. So there we end up having that. We have 5-minute chart, 5-minute order block right here, or that's that 15-minute order block level, but this nice 5-minute order block. Look at the order blocks here. These are what I like to see with an order box. I always like to see big bodies with the candles, no wicks, and that's exactly what we end up having here. And now this becomes a propulsion block right there, and then we end up seeking buy side. So very nice. And here are some standard deviation levels. Notice how this one and this one, these fulcrum points line up very nicely with buy side here. Right there, -2, -2.5. And we end up seeking buy side throughout the rest of the day. As you see here, if we grade this implied dealing range, what do we have at 50%? We have a stop point right here within a macro. That isn't within a macro. I apologize. I'm just showing the macro here, but we changed it. Look what we do at the 1050 macro. Buy side expansion. Then we come back down. Imbalance, or a low nestled right above an imbalance. Oh, that is key. That's key. Fair value gap in, fair value gap out. Then we retrieve back to that one more time again. And then we end up teasing buy side, come back lower, and then silver bullet right there, zone, boom, gets respected very nicely. As we see, we have buy side delivery throughout the PM session, smart money reversal, accumulation, and then accumulation. And we have seeking buy side, and we are taking further draws on liquidity. And yeah, that was the kind of Judas swing that happened. I'm going to backtest Judas swings more often, and I'm going to come to my own conclusions about what Judas swings occur within the market.